Hey, what's up everybody? MichaelTheArch here. Today I'm out on Awaroa on the Hunter COTW to bring you a red deer and fallow deer grind guide. Now, I'm doing this so you can grind for red deer by themselves, fallow deer by themselves, or both animals back to back. So let's start with red deer. All right, red deer are a class 6 animal. They go up to level 9, and you can find them at level 10 fabled as well. They do have a great one species. They are going to have a max weight track of either 240 kilograms or 529 pounds. Anything you see above that is a great one track or a fabled track, whatever you want to call it. They go diamond at 251.07, and they drink from 6 to 10. Now, fallow deer are not fallow deer, but red deer are going to be around this lake. They're around this edge of this little area, this inlet. This lake, they're down here in this corner. They're around this lake, these two lakes, this lake, this little part, sandy beach area of the river there. Both of these lakes, this lake. On this lake, they go from here around to down here. They're not in this area right here, though, from what I have seen at all. They're going to be on this lake from right here at the corner down here a little bit. And then they're going to be on this bank, and then they've got 3 spots they can be in down here. So the route that I would take if you were hunting simply red deer is this lake, this one. At that point, you're going to want to go to one of 4 spots, this one, or this one, to get your ending, your zone end in, basically. And then on your next round, now this is actually hunting every zone and running around and picking up everything. And it's coming in, I've got a tent here, and I run clockwise. I've got a outpost here, and I just run down here and hunt across here. And then I come here, and I come down here and hunt. At that point, I usually am going to go here and hunt this lake, and then here and try this lake really quick. If I only have a few minutes, once I shoot this, I jump here and I shoot here. I run down the hill, the little road right here. I shoot whatever's over here. You got to run up here to where you're about 280 away, or about 250 meters to 280 yards away from the zone over here to get them to spawn in. Shoot those, and then go back and pick up what you need. So starting the next, I go here, and then I come over here, I do this, and at that point, I'm going to, once I run this, and then I come here, I'm going to, usually I'll come here and look at this, and I'll shoot whatever's over here, and then I'll shoot whatever's in these. However, I have found that if I come to this tent, these don't spawn in, and I can shoot this zone and this zone, and then I can run back up here and shoot these zones as well. At that point, if you're 15 minutes till the end of zone to maybe 10 to 15 minutes past, hit up one of these 2 locations. At that point, I come in at this tent and I hunt here. I come in at this tent and hunt this tent, and I hunt all the way around, and then I go to this one, go down to my tripod, and they're around the edge there. And that's how I always run it. That's my loop for red deer. So let's talk about fallow deer. Fallow deer are a class 4 species. They go up to level 5. They can be a level 10 fabled now with the great one. Their max weight tracks are 220 pounds or 100 kilograms. anything above that will be a Greatland track. They go diamond at 249.99. They drink from 10 to 13. And their zones are along this side of this lake, all over this lake. You come here to this outpost and you want to run along this way. So, but basically, you come here, they will be along the entire coast, everywhere. They can be anywhere up to here in this area. They can be here all the way up to here on this coast. They are going to be from here to here, and then all along this coast, there's 3 zones. There's 3 actual zones like that, but groups, probably usually 3 to 6 different groups. And right here is another little sandy area along the coast, and you can find them there as well. The one spot here where red deer are not at on this lake is where fallow deer are. And then you have this area, these 2 lakes, which is fallow heaven. So my recommended route for hunting fallow deer, if you're hunting just fallow deer, is to start here, hunt this. If there's anything here, hunt it from right here. If there's anything along here, hunt it from right here. Then run up here and hunt these 3 zones from along this coast. Just run around and pick up your kills. At that point, you can either come here or you can come straight down here and run along the coast. Now with this, there's 3 sections of this. So you run down here and you'll hunt here and around whatever zones you have. Go ahead and hunt here and around to about here. You'll be able to see over here at that point. You can run to right here, and if there's nothing here, you're done. So what you want to do at that point is come here, come down, and hunt anything along this coast. Now, if you're trying to hunt something here, you're going to have to come down here and you're going to spook anything over here. So try to do this as a separate one. If you have a little extra time, go on up here. If not, then just restart and restart here. Once you see some of them in their zones, you can go on and hunt this, but then come back here, hit this zone, check these all around. Once you get about here, hunt this zone from there. You can go on and pick it up. But at that point, what I would do is pop in right here, run up to about here. If you don't have anything here, I've got a tent here. Now I do have a tent right here as well, by the way. So I'm using the outpost, that outpost. I'm using a tent here. I'm using a tent here. And what I do is I come down here and I hunt anything that's over here along this way. If you have a zone here, it's best to come into this one first before that one and just hunt that. But you might have a zone here as well. And whichever one happens to be your best zone, you might want to get them on different runs. But hunt here, or hunt from here across this area to get that. If you try to wrap around, you're going to spook everything off. So if you want to hunt this, I come in from right here and hunt that way. So if you do happen to have anything from here to here, it's best to come in right here and you'll come down here. You can hunt this area, come over here, and you can hunt along there. And then usually if you see something right out in here, you can hunt it from up in here. There's a little spot right here that they can be in, and it's usually best to try to come from this way. So if you want to, take your tent and put it back up in here to where you're a little bit further from both of those, and you can hunt both of those zones easily that way. This would be a great place for a tripod to hunt those zones. So at that point, so we've hit this, we've done all of this, and we've hit that, and then we've hunted that. I'm going to come up here. I'm going to come over here. I'm going to check out these two zones, and then I'm going to come here first, do this. I'm going to shoot this zone if there's anything over here at the time. So there might be something right in here. So go ahead and hunt that, and then hunt this. What I do then is I come up here and I look to see what's there. Anything not there, I come back here and I run down this coast to hunt all of these zones. Once you get about right here, you can see if anything is in this zone or not, and you can hunt it from there. At that point, I'll pop up here. I'll just run up here and check this zone. Right now, I've got it to all females there, so I don't really have to bother with it. And then I would set up tripods on this lake. My tent is up here. It makes it easy for everything to be spawned in, and I can just go up and see it. At this lake, you're not going to spook stuff if you're way back up in here shooting. You don't spook the other stuff. It's so far across there, you can shoot stuff without spooking it. So it's good to have your tent up here. Just put your tripods down in strategic locations, and you'll be good. And that's about it for the single fallow. So now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pull up a map and show you both of the stuff, both of them together. And what this is basically is, if you look where it's red is going to be red deer zones, where it is yellow, that is fallow zones, and anything that's green is places that I consistently get either the really big animals, the nicest of the nicest, or diamonds. So I'll show you several places for red deer. Once I take this down, I'll show you several places for fallow deer. But this is by far, those green spots are my best large deer producing spots. So go ahead, pause this and take a screenshot if you need to. I am going to try to put this up in the Discord though. All right. So if you are hunting both species, first let me say, if you're hunting red deer, I would set my time to 7:31 and hunt until 10:30. Pick up stuff about 10:40 or so, and then reset the time back to 7:31. Wait, just sit there and wait for them to come in if they're not there yet, and then hunt. Sometimes you might have to do that. Sit there and wait for a little bit for them to get there, up until like 8 something sometime. Depends on where you're at. For fallow deer, set it to 10:41 or 11:01, and go in and then hunt until like 13:20, and then go make sure you pick up stuff at 11:40 or at 13:40. You can reset the time and not lose any money. If you are hunting both, set your time for 7:31 to 8:01 or so for your red deer. What you want to do is hunt the 3 overlapping zones, the 4 places actually where you can have overlapping pressure. That'll be this area right here, this area right here, this area right here, and this area right here. Hunt those first for red deer. Might as well, I would say probably start here, then hunt this, and then hunt this. At that point, it depends on how much time you have left. If you have just a little bit of time, grab one of these 4 enders, as I call them. If you have maybe 30 minutes before the zone time ends, then go up here to this lake and hunt it. Once you're done with that, though, go ahead back down here. If you need to hunt if you have time after you've hunted this lake or one of these end lakes, and you want to come up here and start, you go here, 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 end if you need to, here, any of those, and then end with these, I would say. But once you hit the end of your red deer time, start here for your fallow. If you have too much pressure here, only hunt these 2 zones and then head over here and start doing the coastline. Put down as much pressure as you can, and the next time, actually, if you got pressure here, skip this to start with. It's not worth running. Start with this lake instead, and then run this, and you'll probably be at the end of your zone time around when you get up in here. So at that time, you should be started on over on these lakes. Just run these extra lakes, and that's going to take out more pressure of your fallow zones. So on your second time with fallow, you would come back here and do this one if there's no pressure there at that point. There's no pressure here at that time and no pressure here at that time. Run your fallow and then end up over here. That's going to be the best thing for you to do. If there's pressure here when you've got red deer stuff going, just start over here and run all of these here and this, but don't run this, these, or this for your red deer. What makes it so hard to do this is that these are great spots. This is a great spot that consistently gives me really large deer. I consistently have huge mythicals at this spot. This is by far my best red deer diamond spot so far. This one and this one are almost tied for red deer diamonds. So that one is not going to bother you that much if you hunt there. But if there's anything right here or right here, if they are good zones, then your fallow deer can overlap that. So it's kind of iffy. Thankfully, my fallow deer here are all female now, and this zone has all small red deer. So one more thing before I go, before I turn in for this night here, is I want to give you a few tips on pressure. So pressure has levels, and you can have 15 levels of pressure before you wipe out a zone or before you delete a zone. So what that means is, what do you mean by deleting a zone? Well, if you notice, there's nothing around this lake at all. No zones here, and it's because I put down a little too much pressure. It was an accident. I did not mean to, but let me explain it. This is a perfect scenario here. This is, if you look at this, it's not going to look like it, but all right, nah, that's probably going to be a better example there. Just say this is one tick of pressure or one level of pressure. You can, if you're in a stand of any kind, a hunting structure of any kind, or you're hunting with a bow, you will put down one level of pressure. Okay. If you're using a firearm of any kind outside of a hunting structure, now a bow can be outside of it and it still only puts down one level, but a firearm of any kind outside of a hunting structure is going to put down 4 levels of pressure. You can have up to 15 levels of pressure. I try not to go over 12 because sometimes if you're in a stand or you put over 12 levels of pressure in, you will get the zones deleted. So if you hunt 3 things and then shoot from a zone, that's when there's the possibility, or shoot from a stand, there is that possibility. So my rule of thumb is in any area that I'm going to have overlapping pressure, I only put down 2 animals, period, in that area. That way, if something steps out that I really want to take, I can take it. That's going to be the best thing I can, the best way to look at pressure is to only put down out of a stand, only put down 2 animals in any overlapping area. If you put down 3, it's fine, but do not put down anything else there. Go somewhere else and take out your pressure, and you'll be good. Now, I do want to show you my loadouts, and I had forgot about this, but I've got 3 loadouts that I want to show you and explain to you right quick. Loadout number 1 is my ultimate hunt it all loadout. There's no room for collars with this, but I have the 300, the Malmer 7mm, the Virant 22, the 22-250. You can take the Cacciatore or the Kuso. They are the best in slot for that. And I have the recurve bow for protection from bison, buffalo, and wolves or mountain lions. Anything that can attack you, bears, anything that decides to attack you, deer even, you can drop them with the recurve bow. Also, if you're hunting around water and something starts to attack you, jump in the water. The stuff will spook off, or it will stop attacking. It can't get to you as much if you're in the water. I have literally survived line attacks because I was in the water. Surprisingly, it was actually a diamond line as well. So that's the main one. And I just have all of the ammo for those weapons. I have the Argus, Hyperion, and Meridian. I have no collars. I have First Aid, Scent Eliminator, Apex View, and Gen 0. If you want to take collars, drop out. If you're hunting at night, drop out the Apex. If you're hunting in the day, drop out the Gen 0. And there are no portable structures. So, this is the one I am using. This is my grind on Awaroa, and I have the Malmer 7mm. It is the best in slot for hunting red deer and fallow deer. It has a chance to drop both of them on the spot if you hit them right. If you double lung a fallow deer, it's gone. It drops right there. I have double lunged red deer with this and dropped them on the spot as well. Also, I take the Zarza 308. You can take the, if you have the pack mule, I'm using pack mule. You got to remember that I'm using pack mule. If you're not using pack mule, then you're going to have to drop out either some of the other stuff or one of these weapons. So what you need to do though is you got the 308, the Zarza 308, you have the Olsen 308, you have the M1, you have the I'm trying to think of what it's called, the 303. You can take, if you have the pack mule, you could actually take the 30-06 as well. You can also take the air rifle or the 6.5 if you want, or some sort of specialty setup if you're hunting to fallow deer. Or fallow deer, think about it this way. If you're more than 110 yards away with the air rifle and you're in a tripod, you can literally shoot up to 15 fallow deer in a zone or in one area without worrying about it. If you're just trying to put them down, pop them, let them die, and then run around after the zone time and pick them up. It could be extremely lucrative. But this is what I have in here. So the 22-250, the Virant 22 LR. That's the weapons. I just have the ammo for those. I have the Argus and the Hyperion only. I do have the Antler Collar or the Antler Rattler and the Red Deer for this run, but the First Aid Kit, the Sin Eliminator, and the Apex View. I do have, you can use either a tent or a tripod. Now, the reason using a tent would be actually better overall is when you're first setting up, especially, beavers love to tear down your structures. And if they've just updated the map, or you have, you're not sure what's, like, if your stuff is like brand new, you've just put it down, you're not sure it's in a good place, then take the tent with you and have it on you so you can plop it down if one of them gets taken down. You can also, as long as you only have 15 tents on the map, you can put one down, take your tripods out, put it up, go pick up your tent at that point, put your tripods back up, pick up your tent, and you're good to go. So the other way to build this loadout is, so if you take out the 22, it's going to drop you below the 20 weight limit if you're not using the pack mule. I highly would recommend dropping out the varminter instead. If you drop that out and you drop the 2 collars out, you can take the Arcomo handgun for the class 2 and 3. And in all honesty, it's probably the most powerful, even though it's a single shot. It's probably the most powerful. It's great. So, but what if you want to take the tent and the tripods? Well, there is a way to do it. Drop those 2 weapons out. Go ahead and drop their ammo out as well. You're going to keep that. Drop out 1 of your lures. And with that, if you have your stuff, if you have your pack mule, you can grab that and throw that in there, and you're good to go. So those are the loadouts that you can use. I'm just going to go on and put mine back how it was. Those are the loadouts you can use. I hope that this helps you. I'm sorry it's done got dark, but there you go, and I shall see y'all next time.